start talking about relations between two variables or two quantities. So we're going to skip the first page here. There's a few different ways you can do this and that we're going to look at. We're going to do tables of values, which I think you did in grade 9, right? Did we do tables of values? 236. Where you put in a number and then into an equation and it spits out another number? Yes? Has anybody seen anything like this before? You've never seen anything like this? X, Y. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. We will do that. Okay, it's the same as this, input, output. All right? You can write them as ordered pairs, which we just did. That would be the X and the Y. And you can represent it as a graph. I'm going to connect these points in a bad fashion. All right? We are going to look at all three of those. As you go on in math, mostly you look at the graph and the equation. We're going to learn how to generate equations later on. The mapping, we're not going to look at so much, but we're going to focus on these three right now. Okay? So I need you to flip the page to 238, please. There we go. Independent and dependent variables. All right. If this is our equation, the independent variable is the x. Okay? Put inside the equation, you can see it here. Y is equal to 3x minus 5. The dependent variable is the y, because when you put an x in, it spits out a y value. The y is dependent on the x, whatever x is. All right? The independent is always on the horizontal, or the x-axis. The dependent is always on the vertical, or the y-axis. So if you were sketching a graph, this would be the independent, and this would be the dependent. We're going to do a fair amount of this. All right, can I flip page, please? We're going to go to 240. Right here. Okay. I'll start with this. So they've given us an equation. Y is equal to 2x minus 5. What is the independent variable? X. This is my independent. And therefore, y is the dependent. Now, we're going to complete this table of values. So they're telling us that x is negative 2. How do I get y? What do I do? If this is the equation that we're using. By putting in your x value. Okay, so if x is negative 2, it goes in for x. So you go y is equal to 2. Whatever you substitute in, put in brackets. Brackets. So it looks like that. Okay. What's 2 times negative 2? Negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9. So that means when x is negative 2, y is negative 9. The input is negative 2. The output is negative 9. If you write it as an ordered pair, as an xy pair, it's always x is first, so negative 2, and then the y value, negative 9. All right, what if I put negative 1 in for x? You don't have to write it out. Negative 7. What if you put 0 in? What do I get if I put 0? -5, right? And then I want you to complete the table with these numbers: 1, 2, 6, and 2.5. Finish the table doing exactly what we just did. Just put in the x value in the left column into the equation, spit out the y value. You can use a calculator. Is that what we got? Or close to it? Okay. So when you put 1 in, you should get -3, 2 should get -1, 6, 7. 2.5 should give you 0. Because 2 times 2.5 is 5, 5 minus 5 is 0. All right, we are going to plot these points on this graph right here. Okay? So the first one, -2, -9. -2, -9. There. Remember, you always start at the origin. -1, -7, 0, 5. Make sure you can do this because I will ask you to do this on a test or quiz. And 2.5, just guess where that is. And you should get something that looks like that. We get it? Now, connect the points, please. And we should get a straight line. Hopefully it's drawn better than mine. Is that okay? All right. Let's look at F here. Sorry, let's look at G. Use a graph to determine the value of x when y is equal to 3. So, what they're saying is y is 3. So find 3y, just on the y-axis. So you start here, 1, 2, 3. There it is right there. To figure out your x value, go across until you hit the line. Straight across to there. And then down. Now my line isn't drawn perfectly. Maybe yours is. But you should get 4. Does everybody see 4 there? Because my x value right there where it hits the axis is 4. So when y is equal to 3, x is equal to 4. All right. When you have a straight line, it is called a linear relation. Okay? Anything that is a straight line is a linear relation. Most of what we do in this class is linear. Grade 12 or grade 11, you start to do curves. We're going to look at a certain type of curve. No, we're not. We're just going to end there. Okay. So if you have an equation and they ask you to complete a table, you put your x value into the equation. Whatever it spits out is your y value. Make a table, plot the points, connect them with the line. Okay? Whatever you sub in, just remember whatever you sub in to please bracket it. Okay? The only question I want you to do is number 5, and you're basically just graphing it. Go to number 5. Where's number 5? I want you to complete the tables and plot it. So do B and C, and then do H and I. That's what I want you to do. B, C, H, and I. For number 5, please record this. So where it crosses the x-axis, they all have a y value of 0. All right. Now, let's look at where they cross the y-axis, the vertical one. So we'll do the first one. This point right there. What are the coordinates of that point? What goes first? X value, right? So 0, 5. The y value is 5. What about graph 2? Where does it cross the y-axis? Okay, so what do we write? 0 and 6. And the final one, there you go. 0 and 4, and 0 and -4. What do all these have in common? For the? Yes. So the x value equals 0. Okay. So if I ask for the point where it crosses the x-axis, i.e. the x-intercept, okay, when I say x-intercept, it's where it crosses the x-axis. What is the y value at that point? What's the y value for every one of those points that I just bracketed? 0. So the x-intercept has a y value of 0. If I ask where it crosses the y-axis or the y-intercept, what is the x value? 0. You need to remember that. Those 2 points you need to remember. Put them on your study guide, whatever. You need to remember these 2 points. Okay? And it's summarized on the next page, x and y intercepts of a graph. Remember it or write it down. If I say, I'll do a little box right here again, x-intercept, that means y equals 0. If I say y-intercept, that means x equals 0. Remember, remember it, remember it, remember it, please. So, the most basic type of question you will get in this class regarding those, and actually moving forward, we use this little trick in calculus all the time. If I give you the equation of a function, 3y is equal to 5x plus 15, and I say, what are the x and y intercepts? When I say x-intercept, right away, what goes off in your mind? What's the y value? That means y is equal to 0. So to solve it, all you do is put 0 in for the y value. Okay? So I go 3, instead of writing y, I put a 0 in there, is equal to 5x plus 15. All right. What's 3 times 0? So I get 0, 5x plus 15. How do I solve for x here? Subtract 15 from both sides. So I get negative 15 is equal to 5x. And then what do I do to get x by itself? Divide by 5, whoever said that. Divide each side by 5, and you get 5 divided by 5. Those cancel. What's negative 15 divided by 5? Negative 3 is equal to x. So your x-intercept is negative 3 and 0 as an ordered pair, because the x always comes first. Okay? This unit and the next unit has algebra all over the place. So if you struggle with algebra, you better come see me and I will give you for help. The x-axis. Yeah. And then you'll see in a sec here, once we find the y, we can sketch the graph if we know those two pieces of information. So y-intercept. What's the x value? 0. X is equal to 0. So what do I do with that? Where do I put it in the equation? In for the x. So I go 3y is equal to 5 times 0 plus 15. 5 times 0. 0. So that's all just gone. So I have 3y is equal to 15. How do I get y by itself? Divide by 3. So what's y equal? So as an ordered pair, you would write 0 and 5. And now, later on, we're going to look at this, but this is enough information to graph this. So instead of doing a table of values like you just did, I'm not going to ask you to do it right now, but this is where we will get to. Then if I said graph that, you would go, okay, I have an x-intercept at negative 3 and 0, which is right there, and a y-intercept at 0 and 5, which is right there. Now, I don't have graph paper, so this isn't to scale or anything. You'll learn later on that that's a straight line. It's a linear line. So you just connect the 2 points, this point and this point, and that's the graph. Okay, so instead of doing tables of values, we're going to get to the point where just 2 points and we can sketch the graph. Okay? All right. Next one. Right now, we're just doing x, y intercepts, though. So, x-intercept, y-intercept. As soon as I say x-intercept, what pops into your head about the y value? y is equal to 0. Where do I put that? Into the equation. In for the y squared. So I end up with x squared plus my y value squared equals 16. What's 0 squared? 0, so that just goes away. Now, if I have x squared is equal to 16, you square root it, right? To get x. If you square root 16, what do you get? Ooh, you got half of it. What's 4 times 4? 16. What's negative 4 times negative 4? 16, right? So when you square root something, you get 2 answers, positive and negative. All right? So you can just put plus minus, or you could write positive 4 and negative 4. I don't really care. But it's the same thing. When you square root something, you always get 2 answers. Okay? You have to put both. Otherwise, you're not going to get full marks because they have 2. So, because that's the way of the universe. So you'll see in a sec. Okay. All right. So we have positive 4 and negative 4. Our y value is 0. So as ordered pairs, what do we write? 4, 0 and negative 4, 0. We have 2 x-intercepts. All right. Y-intercept. What's the x value? So I get 0 squared. So I end up with y squared is equal to 16. What do I do? Square root. When you square root, how many answers do you get? Yes, plus minus 4. What are they written as? Ordered pairs. Which one comes first? So 0, 4, 0, negative 4. And if you go on in math, you'll realize this is the equation of a circle. So that's why it has 2 of each, because it looks like that. And there's your x and y intercepts. 4, 4, negative 4, negative 4. Yeah, I will. The question I want you to do is number uno and dos. 1 and 2, please. I'll put it up. 1.